Lily sat alone in her small, cluttered apartment, the only light coming from a single lamp casting a soft glow over her work. Around her, unfinished canvases covered the floor, half-painted dreams, each representing a part of her soul she was too scared to share with the world. The colors were vivid, the strokes bold, but they all sat in silence, as if waiting for something, for someone. For years, Lily had dreamed of becoming an artist. She had even studied art in college. But the idea of showing her work, of opening herself up to the judgment of others, felt like an insurmountable mountain. Her fears haunted her, keeping her trapped in a cycle of creating and hiding. Creating and hiding. Every time she looked at her pieces, she felt the weight of expectation pressing down on her. What if they weren't good enough? What if they didn't matter? Her phone buzzed. It was a text from her friend Kate. "There's an art exhibition tonight. You should come. It'll be fun." Quote. Lily stared at the message, her thumb hovering over the keyboard. Fun? Fun for who? The thought of being in a room full of people, each with their own judgment, made her stomach churn. The pressure to engage, to explain herself, her art, her place in the world. It was too much. But at the same time, something inside her stirred. Maybe it was time to see something different. Maybe it was time to feel something else. The gallery was buzzing with voices, laughter, and the soft clink of glasses. It was far too warm, and the lights were too bright. Lily stood by the door for a moment, her feet glued to the floor. She could see the artwork on the walls, the vibrant colors, the faces filled with stories, and something inside her longed to be a part of it. But she was frozen, a spectator to a world she didn't feel she belonged to. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, a voice broke through the hum of the crowd. "Beautiful pieces, aren't they?" The voice was warm, welcoming, and when Lily turned, she found herself face to face with a woman in her 30s. Her hair a fiery red, her smile wide and genuine. Her eyes were filled with something Lily couldn't quite place. Hope, or maybe understanding. Lily nodded, too embarrassed to speak. "Yes, they're amazing. I'm just looking," she said, trailing off as she felt the heat rise in her cheeks. The woman tilted her head, looking at her with curiosity. "You an artist?" she asked gently, not in the way people often ask to be polite, but as if she truly cared to know. Lily hesitated. Her heart pounded in her chest. She wasn't an artist in the way these people were. They were professionals. They had success, recognition, and, most importantly, confidence. She was just someone who painted in the quiet corners of her life, hiding from the world. I paint," she said softly, feeling the weight of her words. The woman's eyes brightened. "That's incredible. What do you paint?" she asked, genuinely intrigued. Lily felt her throat tighten. She looked away. I mostly paint abstract things. I don't show anyone." The confession came out in a rush, as if it was a secret she'd been carrying for too long. The woman didn't seem fazed. She smiled and extended her hand. "I'm Sarah. By the way, I'm an artist too, though I haven't always been so open about it." Something in Sarah's voice rang with authenticity. She wasn't pretending to be a part of this world. She was simply a person who had found her place within it. Lily looked at Sarah's art on the walls. Colorful and bold, filled with emotion. There was a depth there, a connection to something more than just paint on canvas. It was raw, like Sarah herself had bared her soul to the world and asked for nothing in return. Lily swallowed hard. You really show your work?" Her voice trembled. "You don't feel scared?" Quote. Sarah's smile softened, as if she understood exactly what Lily meant. "Every single time I stand in front of a canvas, I'm scared. Every time I hang my work on a wall, I wonder if anyone will like it, if they'll understand it. But then I remember, It's not about what people think of me. It's about how the art makes me feel. And how it might make someone else feel. She paused, her eyes kind and knowing. Maybe that's something you could think about too. Lily felt a lump in her throat. The words hit her deeper than she expected. The weight of fear she carried around all these years. What if my work isn't enough? What if I'm not enough? Seemed to lift, if only for a moment. Sarah's warmth gave her something she hadn't realized she was missing. Hope. I don't know if I can, Lily whispered, looking down at her shoes. I'm just not. I'm not strong like you. I can't put myself out there. Sarah stepped closer. I was once in your shoes. I still am sometimes. But strength doesn't come from never being afraid. It comes from doing it despite the fear. From stepping out there, one small step at a time. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and Lily stayed in touch. They met for coffee and discussed their work, their struggles, and their dreams. Sarah shared her own vulnerabilities. How she too struggled with imposter syndrome. How she faced rejection and doubt like everyone else. But Sarah's approach was different. She viewed these obstacles as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to try again. One afternoon, Sarah asked, "Why don't you show your work? Just a piece. Just one." Lily laughed nervously. "Because I'm not ready. What if people don't get it? What if they laugh at me?" Quote. Sarah's gaze softened. "What if they love it?" she asked, her voice quiet but full of belief. "What if they see something in it that you don't see yourself?" Quote. Lily felt her chest tighten. The thought of putting herself out there, the rawness, the exposure, scared her more than anything. But something in Sarah's words stuck with her. Maybe it wasn't about waiting until she was ready. Maybe it was about finding the courage to take that first step, even if it was shaky. After a long pause, Lily nodded. "Okay, I'll do it." Lily's first exhibition wasn't easy. It wasn't smooth. It wasn't flawless. But it was real. It was honest. Her heart raced as she arrived at the gallery. Standing in front of her work, she wanted to disappear, to run away. But Sarah was there, standing by her side, offering a steady hand. "You're doing great," Sarah said, squeezing her shoulder. "This is the beginning." Lily swallowed hard as people began to gather around. She tried not to look directly at them, focusing on the art instead. But then a woman stopped in front of one of her paintings. She stood there for what felt like an eternity, her eyes searching, taking it in. Lily held her breath, praying the woman wouldn't move on too quickly. Finally, the woman spoke. "This piece, it really speaks to me. The way you used color. It's raw." Lily blinked, stunned. "You like it?" she asked, her voice small, unsure. The woman nodded, smiling. "It's beautiful. I'm going to take it." Lily felt as though the earth shifted beneath her feet. Her heart swelled with something she couldn't name. It wasn't just the sale. It was the validation, the feeling of being seen, of being understood. She had opened herself up, just a crack, and the world had responded with kindness. After the exhibition, as the last of the guests filed out, Sarah stood beside Lily, a proud smile on her face. "See? You did it." Lily looked at her, tears in her eyes. "I never thought I could. I've been hiding for so long, afraid to show anyone who I really am." Sarah placed a hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes, it's the things we're most afraid of that end up defining us. You've just begun to realize your own strength." As weeks passed, Lily's art began to find its place in the world. Her work was shown in other galleries, and she received commissions. But more importantly, she began to trust herself. The fear didn't disappear completely, but it no longer ruled her. She knew now that art, like life, wasn't about perfection. It was about showing up, being vulnerable, and allowing herself to be seen. And every time Lily stepped into a new gallery, or met new people who admired her work, She thought back to that night. The night she almost didn't go to the exhibition. The night she met Sarah, who had taught her that true strength wasn't about never being afraid. It was about stepping